Hi, welcome to another episode of Finding Time by Gtheory Coaching. We're going to take a look at the September Cow Club SCCA Autocross at Autoclub Speedway. At this event, I was fortunate enough to have a co-drive with Jacob in his M2, and this is about 3 times the weight and 5 times the horsepower of the C-Mod car I've been driving all season, so it was an adventure. But this goes to show you sometimes it's great to have somebody else hop in and drive with you because some people are very consistent and they're very good at being consistent, and so they run the same laps and then they go look at the data and it all looks the same. Data can tell you where you've made a mistake if you have some of the other data, or maybe an area where you could be going a little faster, doing a little more, whatnot. So let's take a look. I'm going to widen up my speed a little bit so it's a little easier to go through. This is the newer version of SoloStorm that's still being tested here. All right, so there's a little bit going up the hill. You can see here I'm able to get on the power slightly earlier and stay committed to the throttle up to the top of the hill. Going around the corner, Jacob actually ends up running a tighter line here and a little bit more minimum speed. So it makes back that tenth. Coming through here, I broke the line just as we start to decelerate. That's why I moved the sectors around a little bit here. So coming into the really tight corner, it's just a matter of, if you look at the video, we're set up in roughly the same spot. Looking on the outside, you can see I get a little bit closer to this exit cone here, and he gets just a touch of opposite lock. Really tight corner, 500 horsepower car. It's hard. Everything's got to be smooth. Coming down the hill here, there's another tenth. You know what? Funny is I thought it was going to be more, because right now I'm carrying about 2 more miles an hour, and I just stay flat down through, flat down through, flat down through, still not lifting, and then I just make one solid break. Got about 4 miles an hour here. Fascinating. Not that much. Only a tenth. I would have thought that'd been a really important area to focus on getting that speed, but not so much. Through the next right, we're about the same. Here's the sector with the big difference. Obviously, we can see by the GPS line here, GPS thinks it's 25 feet shorter and about a half a second faster. I know it's a half a second faster. I'm not entirely convinced it was 25 feet shorter looking at both videos. But it's possible. Looking at the video, he looks farther set up to the left. So if you look where the lines of cone are in my video down on the bottom here on the left, you can see the line of cones lined up between the nav and the speedo cover, and his is decidedly in the middle of the nav. So, it starts just slightly wider there. Coming down to the cone, roughly the same speed. I slow down a little bit more than he does here. I get on the gas a little bit harder. I'd be curious just chopping out that section, but with the distance, it's going to come up difference. Trying to maintain that. And as we come around the right here, we've got this kind of right-left complex. I try to roll in just a little bit more speed, and not what we talked about during the course walk. I actually turn back a little bit sooner, and I'm kind of counting on the car sliding a little bit and staying on the throttle. So I'm hoping I'm on the throttle enough that if anything, it's going to understeer. And it was actually really compliant through here with that transition. So coming up the hill, I start to carry a little bit more speed, about 4 more miles an hour, and then we both get just a touch of opposite lock there, and then we both wind the lock back on. But it looks in that transition like there was definitely some kind of time to be gained. That's about 10 miles an hour there. So certainly turning left instead of really staying off in order to get to the right, to get back on, to maybe get in the marbles, which was what we walked course. When it drove a little different, and I tried staying in the power there, and it worked out well. Kind of the top of second, just bopping up against the limiter from about here, so right on the entry through the length of the chute was just a limiter in second gear. Getting it shut down, really tough corner to get it shut down for. Really too easy to turn in early. Tough corner, roll downhill, fun, roll on the power. Again, pretty consistent here, just trying to get the car turned first, get it shut down, and then back on the power. Again, a couple miles an hour here. I wish I had his adventurousness getting into this corner. He really hooks it in there, and takes 8 more miles an hour around that first Wallem, which is key. And even though I save a little time, let me see if I split this here. What if I just take this section here? Ah, it's only a tenth. What if I split it a little sooner? What if I just split here, and then I merge 1.5 tenths. Huh, would have thought it would have been more than that. Nice job, Jacob. All right, coming through here, around to the left. This was a tough corner. I was able to get set up a little bit more to the right, so maybe it was a little give and take. I lost 2 tenths there, I gained 2 tenths there. Pick your own line, didn't matter. All right, coming through the slalom, this last slalom here. Woo, very fast. Down through a section here. There's a little rise in the middle of this too. It's very interesting on these stadium parking lots. You really want to try to look to see where, if there's like a big rise, you may get a little bit of more traction, and then as you go down the backside, you may get less traction. So, playing with those as a course designer is fun, but looking for those as a driver also very interesting. Here I did what I usually coach is I did an early lift around the first cone, so that I could really get backsided. So at the cone, he's already adding speed. Of course, it's open. I really wanted to backside that hard, and then I got on the power, and then I never lifted. When I turned back to the left here, he was neutral steer for a minute there. I don't know if that was oversteer or what have you. But I was flat on the power, and I wanted to come out right a little bit anyway, which it pushed me out there. So again here, another area where there's about 11-mile-an-hour distance. 11-mile-an-hour speed difference, not much distance difference. So we're both virtually on the same line, but the speed difference there. So that early lift netted me, about 11 miles an hour. Definitely worth keeping there. So, and then down and left through the finish. So again, just to recap, big ones were, as I always recommend, early lift at the beginning of a transitional section or a slalom, whatever that looks like. Get the car set up, get the car backsided, and then get right back on the gas to accelerate out of it. And coming back here to this section up the hill, remaining tight, but also in the transitions, keeping our heads moving. Let's see when our heads look. Yeah, I start to turn my head just a little bit sooner there. And, don't be afraid to be adjust on the fly if you need to. If you feel like you can carry more speed through a section, if you come out and you're not having a hard time, in this case, if we look at the video, getting through the gate. If you're not struggling to get through the gate, time to add some more speed. Anyway, thank you very much, and hope you all had fun.